2, 1.
Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on July 2nd, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every movement I make with. Now, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Now, right off the bat, just like, we are actually going to be looking at, we didn't, I'm just looking at the list at the top of the title at the top of the show. We forgot to modify it. But we are looking at fear-mongering and misinformation, specifically in the UFO community. Now, I will tell you, the biggest thing we've got to look at when it comes to fear-mongering, I have no clue to speak of what the actual definition is. I mean, yes, where did I put it? I put it down, of course. I did get Storm was kind enough to ship me an article on the physical effects and the mental ones on fear. But here's the thing. Here, from my standpoint, this is the only one that really makes a whole lot of impact. LA, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Can you believe we are down to literally under 6 weeks? Oh, perfect. I refreshed, but that wouldn't work. Oh yeah, there it is. Perfect. Joe, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And thank you so much, Storm. I appreciate that. Now, Joe, you are actually in with the gold today. And we are going to be hitting something right up your alley. Okay, actually, it's in your backyard. But what is fear-mongering? Now, to me, it's simple. I don't know what the clinical side of it is. Okay, I mean, I've got an article in front of me, but I'm not going to read that right now. Kevin, you are in with the silver. Glad you could join us. Now, here's the neat thing with fear-mongering. If you're having a conversation with somebody and you come away from that conversation or that comment feeling depressed, anxious, hopeless, you get the picture. Any of these things, you're the victim of fear-mongering. Whether it's intentional or not is a whole different issue. If, on the flip side of that, you make a comment that encourages somebody else to be any of the above, you're the one causing the fear. Now, I've been told so many times by people, I'm not fear-mongering when I tell people that the aliens are going to invade. Guess what? Now, in a nutshell, if the aliens were going to invade, it's simple. The invasion be over. You'd all be either dead or enslaved. Take your pick. You wouldn't be wondering when. Okay. Now, we've got a couple of really brilliant theories out there. One, aliens are going to invade and take us over. Two, aliens are already running everything. This other really wonderful thing, and again, this is just fear-based. Joe goes, I'm okay. It's fireworks season here. People will start shooting fireworks off all hours of the night till 4th of July. Not looking forward to that. See, when I was 40 years younger now, right, everybody was firing off fireworks. We didn't think that was good enough. So bearing in mind, I had a couple of ex-military friends and some pretty twisted individuals. So we took all the necessary safety precautions We figured the lights were being provided by everybody else, but it wasn't loud enough. So we used pipe bombs. Now do understand, we were using pipe bombs in a safe, controlled fashion to avoid hurting anybody and or anything. But the noise was incredible. Okay, now, when you're looking at whatever's going on around you, we can point the finger anywhere you'd like. We can point it at religion. We can point it at the so-called elites. You can point it at your parents for all it matters. The reality is, fear-mongering boils down to this. You're blaming somebody else, either a person, you're either blaming another person or an organization for creating the problem, or you're going somebody else is going to straighten it out. And we know because God turned around and he gave everybody free will and free choice. So we know he's going to come down and correct your stupid choices. Okay, we know this because he's been around forever and a day, and he's done such a bang-up job of straightening your mess out. Guess what? You're the one that dug the hole. You're the one that gets to fill it back in, preferably without a whole pile of bodies. Although gummy bears isn't a bad idea. But when we look at fear-mongering, ask yourself this. Now, I don't know who believes in what at this point. Oh, yeah, LA goes, last year a neighbor threw fireworks behind me. I was messed up for 3 days. I have no doubt about that at all in your case, LA. Steve, how you doing? You are in with the bronze. Now, when we look at the whole thing of fear-mongering, we have to start looking, well, let's put it this way. Okay, the fastest way to derail emotion, to derail logic, is emotion. Fear will shut down logic quick as a bug. Okay, but the fastest way to stabilize emotions is also logic. If, or more to the point, when we point out what you're looking at, you've got the choice, and you don't have to believe me. Okay, this is the way I look at the world, and the way that I've come to understand when people decide they're going to start looking at the world voluntarily in a different fashion. All of a sudden, we've got a wonderful little setup going on. Okay, when you realize there is logic behind fear, you can actually derail it. Now, let me ask you this. Which do you guys prefer? Okay, do you prefer living in a world where you look at the news, you look at the events going on in the world, and you go, oh, look, we're starving to death. We've got land shortages. We've got food shortages. Oh, and look, the oil is running out. And then you get the extremists that go, hey, gravity's running low. We're in trouble. And I will grant you this. If gravity runs out, we're going to have a whole bad day. But would you rather look at that? Or would you rather look at the world and go, hey, here's some positive things that we're going through? Now, I've talked to a lot of so-called professionals in the metaphysical field. Like, in the metaphysical, and specifically, we're going to look at the ones. Yeah, LA goes, nah, it'll only last a few seconds. Well, the light from the sun will last approximately 8 minutes. But I've talked to a lot of people claiming to be like they're self-proclaimed experts in the UFO field. Okay, and yet these same people carry on with, oh, we're in a prison. We're on a prison planet. It's neat that we're on a prison planet and people are being abducted consistently. These same people are saying we're trapped on a prison planet. We are quarantined and we're being abducted. Now, either the quarantine is pretty pathetic or we're not quarantined. Your call. Tell me, How many prisons on Earth? Now, we're low tech. We're real low tech. How many prisons on Earth using the same techniques have regular kidnappings going on from the prison? You know, like realistically, think about it. If we're on a prison, if we're in a prison planet, then how are we getting off it so fast? Like what? They paid off all the jailers? I'm not sure, but I think there's a problem here. And then we've got a staggering number of these people that go, I work all the time, one-on-one with these races, and yet they can't recognize them. I'm going, am I missing something here? Now, do not get me wrong. I am not an expert. Okay. There is no way I have enough information or enough recall to qualify myself as an expert. Well, technically I do. My brother coined a really beautiful definition. An expert, an unknown drip under pressure. Okay. Now, we know I'm essentially unknown. Okay, in the greater scheme of things. I mean, I get a kick out of it. I've been doing this for 2 years with over 1,000 videos, and we've got, as of just before I came online, 626 subscribers. Now, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Probably am, if I look at the numbers, because I watch these, watch videos come up, and oh, look at this. I've been online for 3 months. I've got 700 and some odd subscribers. Okay. I'm like, what did I miss? Not that at this point, I came to the conclusion that I've been going about this backwards. But when we're talking about UFOs, we have to understand their technology level makes a war extremely pointless. As was said in X-Men First Class. Okay, Emma Frost opened the window between her and the cops and goes, I wouldn't exactly call it a war. They're saying there's going to be a war between humans and mutants. In our case, let's go humans and aliens. Okay, she opens the window up and she goes, I wouldn't really call it a war because a war suggests both sides have a chance of winning. Okay, humans against aliens. Does the movie Godzilla versus Bambi ring a bell? Oh, there you go. You know, Joe's going, me and my dad cut down some trees out back today for campfires. Yeah, but you're going to use campfires in a proper way. I knew a guy who used to cut down trees with det cord. He liked the excitement of it. But no, we got to understand. If you want to talk about aliens invading Earth, let's start with the obvious. Okay? Because I had a conversation with him, and you can tell me I'm completely off my nut, or you can go, oh, he knows what he's talking about. That's your call. Quite frankly, I'm not here. You should look it up. It's a 5-minute movie there, Steve. I think you can find it on the internet. Okay. It's literally 1 minute of the movie and then 4 minutes of credits. Yeah, like he goes, so did I, thank God. Yo, it was interesting. My brother was a little twisted. He loved it. Of course, my brother had an IQ that was 180 plus. But I'm not here to prove to anybody anything. Okay, except one little detail. I'm not about to lie to you to make you feel better. This is why I've got the list of rules at the top of the stream that says, look, here's the guidelines. I'm not dealing with fear mongering here. I'm not dealing with, oh, we're being invaded. If you're being invaded, you'll be invaded. Problem will be solved. Okay, you won't be questioning because, quite frankly, they'll be right there. But I will tell you, there's a very simple karmic law. Okay, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Piggybacked on that is you must follow the laws of the land in which you are. In this stream, in positive perceptions, it's simple. We're not dealing with bullies. We're not dealing with fear-mongering. We're just not. Okay? You want fear-mongering, there's lots of it out there. Anytime somebody says something, gets into a conversation with you, and leaves you feeling depressed, hopeless, dejected, completely lost, maybe you're feeling under the weather, you're going, I've got no energy, I've got no way of moving. Okay, maybe you're looking at it going, the world's going to end, what can I as an individual do? Well, I will tell you this. There's lots of ideas out there, but let's start with the obvious one. We can carry on talking about how bad fear is. Fear, as it turns out, and I'm just going to take a look at this to make sure I get the right ones. This article that Storm sent me, I did actually read through it. That's why I can find part of it. Oh, where are we here? Yeah, when you focus on fear, and here's the key before I get into that. Here's the key. When you're reading the newspaper, listening to the news, going on the social media, every time you read, listen, or watch anything of a negative nature, watch, read, or listen to something of a positive nature, or more to the point, to two things. This will keep things balanced. I can understand that, Joe. Just look at the bright side. At least the residents of the graveyard aren't out in the front yard there cutting down trees themselves. That can be entertaining, rather disconcerting. But if you insist on bombarding yourself with the negative stuff, okay, what can happen is you can absolutely, now where are we here? Okay, what it can do is it can trigger fear and anxiety disorders. Okay, if you can continue to bombard yourself with how bad the world is, what's going on in a political arena. Okay, now I was looking back at this. Okay, like I told you a while ago, I told my father I would read the Bible cover to cover. I'm about a third of the way through it now. I figure it'll be another 2 or 3 years before I finish. But what I'm finding out is we go back, and you guys get to figure this one out, okay? We go back 1,000 years. Every leader of every country was between 20 and 40 when they went into office. They were not already one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel. Okay, these people that are being elected right now, across the board, okay, yes, they've got experience. They've also got cynicism. Okay, and they have a wonderful little idea of, or they seem to have a wonderful idea of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be dead before I get out of office, so I don't have to worry about whatever I concoct. Okay, you guys have an option. You can continue to put the people that are already in the latter tenth of their life. You can keep putting them in office, or you can start looking at the ones that are younger. Your call. Okay, the same thing applies across the board. Okay, our thinking has been railroaded. Now, the reality of it is this. You can continue looking at the videos that get popped up and say, hey, here's pictures of these celebrities that they're really embarrassing. They just don't want you to see these. So here they are. Ask yourself, if you were the one that did something embarrassing, would you desire that to be all over the net? Okay, like, is this something that actually you would enjoy? Because remember, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay, if you wouldn't appreciate it yourself, don't do it. Okay, now, the reality of it is this. And it was pointed out to me just yesterday, I think, that this whole idea of buying into, oh, we're in a matrix. Guys, Hollywood's great. It really is. But I hate to tell you this, we are not living in a computer. Your brain is a computer. And you have the potential to control what you're thinking. It's your call. Guess what? I was looking into it. And you know how the diamonds are such a pricey item? Well, it's kind of like the pet rock. Okay, they are pricey because of marketing. Okay, they are one of the most common stones on the planet, second to granite. But somebody figured out how to market a shiny bauble and make everybody go, oh, I gotta have one of those. Okay, fear mongering says, if you stay doing this, you're going to die. Okay, we're going to run out of oil. You know, the oil has been here for millions of years. This is not the first time that mankind has reached this level of tech. You know, the funny thing there, Ellie, when you look at oil, okay, my understanding is there's about 6 months of oil in backup. Okay, now, if that is the case, then how can somebody jacking the price today have an immediate impact on the oil price? Most of the shortages that you're seeing on the news, and I would venture to say probably 80% of them, if not more, are literally greed-based. Okay, and yes, where did I put it? Must be here. Yeah. I haven't got it posted yet, but I actually wrote an article on the whole 9 yards. But most of the shortages you're dealing with are based on greed. Okay, we don't have a food shortage. What we have is a lot of really greedy people making laws and pushing for laws so they can make more money. Okay, we have in the UFO community, oh, we've got aliens. Why don't they show themselves? Hey, look, it's an unidentified flying object. Dig out the big guns, let's shoot it down, and then ask if they're friendly. Now, is anybody seeing a problem with this rationality? You know, I mean, think about it. In your neighborhood, if a neighbor comes over and opens fire on your wall or shoots your car up and then asks you, are you friendly? What is your answer going to be? This is the price of fear-mongering. Okay, this is the price of misinformation. And I'm telling you, now, you can believe me or not. That's your call. Okay, I made the comment this morning with my son. I told him, it's time to go to war against this whole thing. And, you know, I said that and I looked at it and went, no, it's time to knock off the conflict. So I'm not going to tell you what you're allowed to believe or what you should believe. I'm just going to point out what I'm seeing as hiccups. Okay, so let's start with the first issue. Okay, who here has ever walked into a room with really, really tall people? Okay, now the average human is 5.5 to 6 feet tall. Have you ever walked by somebody built like a freight train, like a professional wrestler, professional football player, professional basketball player? Okay, do these people make you feel really relaxed? Or do you find you're a little bit intimidated by their sheer size? Okay. You know, so and LA's going, I generally do. I'm 5'2". You know, I'm not. I'm 5'8" ish. Okay. But I always look at people that are taller than me and I will look up to them. You know, I mean, you take a look at Frank, at Storm. I absolutely look up to Frank. I don't think I've got an option unless he's sitting down. But when you think about it, just looking at standard humans, you watch somebody walk into the room that's really, really tall or really, really muscle bound. Okay, most people are intimidated by this. Okay, you see somebody with a hand that's literally that wide, and you're going to be edgy. Okay, I met the wrestler Big Show. Okay, this is a massive man. Now get this. These are all humans, and people get edgy. Now, I'm going to cross that really, really nasty border. What happens if you take a Caucasian and throw him in the heart of Harlem? Are they going to be really accepted? Are people going to look at them and go, there's a person, they just happen to be white? Or are we dealing with fear-based prejudice that's been perpetrated and perpetuated for centuries? Okay, think about that for just half a second. Okay, one of the things you have to look at, well, you might desire to look at, is this has been going on for a coon's age. Now, with that in mind, most of what we do in life, and Joseph brought something up that does bring up a really neat point. Okay, Joe goes, speaking of strange things flying in the sky during the daytime, this afternoon here, again, the same black drone flying across the sky towards the cemetery. Now, get this, Joe. Okay, that drone, you could tell it was a drone, but that's it, right? I'm betting you didn't know who made it. Okay, now you undoubtedly have your suspicions, but I'm betting you didn't know that you don't know exactly who it is. Therefore, that is an unidentified flying object. Okay, now you got a choice, and all you have the same choice. You can fear the unknown. You can just take it as, okay, I don't know everything. I haven't seen that before. Or you can go, hey, there's something new to look into. You know, when we're looking at fear-mongering, ask yourself this. Does it make sense? We'll deal with these one at a time, I think. Probably should have listed it out, but deal with them one at a time. Let's start with, we're on a prison planet. You know, we were seeded here by other aliens. Why in tarnation would an advanced race develop an inferior physiological construct and trap it to watch it run around in circles? Why would you do that? Okay, humans go, we're going to invent something that's a little bit more complex. It can do things we can't. Why would an advanced race take all the time to build this incredible sanctuary? Okay, why do that for inferior races? Okay, oh, we're going to put them and watch them stumble around. How many of you guys actually sit there and watch that incredible? Because you got to remember, these guys can travel like that. How many of you guys will sit down and watch a garden slug try and get across the street? How many of you sit there and just watch it? Okay, not a problem there, Joe. So you look at the prison planet. Now, like I said, if this is a prison planet, why are people still being abducted? You know, are the prison guards that incompetent? Okay. Are they, and you know, or is it a question of, okay, yes, it's prison, but you can come and go as you please? Talk about a spa. Now we've got that idea. And you can jump on and go, oh, but these people have proven it's a prison planet. No, they haven't. Okay, they really haven't. Just use a little bit of logic for a moment. Now, we're going to jump that. We're going to go to Hollywood and we're going to put you into the Matrix. Because this is all a program. Everything is laid out. You've got no free will. You've got no freedom of choice. But you believe in a God that says you've got both. Can we think for just a moment? Okay, if we're living in a prison, in a matrix. LA goes, I watched that for about 5 seconds. Get up, pick it up, and take it across. I'm not especially patient. You would have loved what I had to do today. I was driving down the road, and I had to stop because I swear I had a dyslexic or a directionally challenged quail. He ran halfway across the street, turned around, ran a quarter way back. So I just parked the car and waited for him to figure out where he was heading. But if we're living in the Matrix, then why are you permitting it to continue? There's enough programmers here now. We already figured out. If you're going to buy into the idea we're living in a matrix, then you've got to be able to buy into the idea that a person running a Terran computer can hook it up to an alien computer and reprogram the alien computer. Now, if you can buy the one, why not buy the other? Now, I will tell you this. Doing the idea of ID4, let's program an alien computer with a Terran one. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of luck taking an abacus and hooking it up to an IBM or an Apple. I just don't think this is going to work all that well. Now, maybe I'm reading something wrong. Okay, but how many, I'm looking at some of these posts that people are making, and going, oh, I'm a light worker and we're all going to die. When I was working for the government as a warlock, I used to do that. I'd look at the witches and I go, I'm a light worker, so you're going to die because I'm going to tie you to the post and I'm going to light the freaking fire. Okay, now, if you're listening to light workers that are telling you the government, the aliens are controlling everything, I don't know about you. Maybe I'm mistaken. Did I miss something here? If aliens are controlling everything, is this something that you would call an uplifting piece of information? Or do you just take it as an excuse? Oh, it's all their fault, so I don't have to take responsibility. Okay, now, people pick on religion. I'm going to pick on the whole 9 yards. Religion, spirituality, the new age, the so-called new age movement. Okay, I'm telling you, these people are all doing exactly the same thing. Now, I say all. There are exceptions. Absolutely, Joe. And the funny thing is, a UFO does not mean alien. A UFO is an unidentified flying object, period. Okay, some may be alien. Okay, but the qualifier is they're unidentified. If I see a sparrow at a higher height, I may know it's a plane, or I may know it's a plane too. I may know it's a bird, but I won't know what type. Okay, it therefore, by definition, is unidentified. Okay, the fact that it is unidentified does not mean it's going to try and kill you. But I will guarantee virtually, you shoot at something like that and then ask if they're friendly, the odds are they're going to say no. Not so much. I do reference movies. Absolutely, I do. You know, but the thing is, I'm not about to sit here and tell you that the fact this science fiction movie was made makes it real. I will tell you, however, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and I forget what the guy's first name was. The guy that wrote the what the heck was it called? That wrote Mulder and Jumpin' Jiminy. It was a really good show and a really good series. And I forget what the heck it was called. Oh yeah, that's just it, LA. Many there we are, the X-Files. Thank you so much. Those three directors. Now, I've got no proof. Okay, I've got no proof at all. All I've got is my awareness of the different races I've seen and the fact that what they're showing has a backbone to it of what I know to be real. Okay, those three directors or three writers, I will tell you, have an idea of what's going on. Okay, now, that being said, this does not mean they got everything absolutely perfect. It does not mean that they've been abducted. All I know is they've got an inkling. And many people, myself included, run on instinct. Okay, it feels right. Our mouth goes into gear, then we try and catch our brain up to it. See, most of you have this neat thing. You'll go to say something, and your brain will go, wait a minute, I shouldn't say that. Mine's retarded. A bad word. But my little voice in my head waits until it comes out and goes, Keith, you shouldn't have said that. I'm like, now's a good time to tell me. You know, but you got us. You can buy into the Hollywood hype. Absolutely. You can buy into the hype around the UFOs. Now, I will tell you this. There's another neat little thing here. Okay. And I heard an individual say this directly. Okay. What they said was every hybrid knows they're a hybrid. Absolutely. And I'm sitting there going, how could you possibly believe that? Every adopted kid on the planet doesn't know they're adopted. Every mixed race, i.e., half Chinese, half Caucasian, half Indian, half Caucasian, they don't all know that somewhere in their ancestry is another species or is another race. Not likely another species, although that does happen. Hybrids do not all know they're hybrids. Okay. And every light worker that claims to be a light worker and yet is piping out this garbage, and I call it garbage, that the aliens are here, are controlling everything. That's not the work of a light worker in my eyes. Okay. That's the work of a shovel handler. And my biggest question usually, though I very seldom actually ask it because people are like, I love the one post today. Now, you tell me what to make of this. Okay. I read this light workers post. And what they said was, if we're light workers, you shouldn't be telling people that you shouldn't be telling other light workers they're wrong. You should be accepting them as they are. And that's how you work towards unifying. Now, I'm telling you right now, okay, I will not go on the social media and go, this is wrong, that's wrong, because I cannot say that person has not met these people. Except in certain cases where I heard one individual flat out told me, okay, he flat out told me that he was a naturally conceived half-breed Anunnaki. Now, I'll tell you that physiologically, that would be like somebody telling me, oh, I'm half holic. A holic is a fire elemental. Can you picture a human and an aholic actually creating a half-breed, as in crawling into bed together and producing a child. An Anunnaki, the short ones, they're able to reproduce 15 feet tall. Okay, now, when I hear a so-called light worker or a so-called contactee telling me something like this, I cannot sit there going, I can't, well, I could. I will not sit there going, okay, you're speaking intelligently. There's a problem with it. Okay, light workers do not have a responsibility to leave the misguided in the dark, regardless of what you call yourself. Okay, if you're calling yourself a light worker and you're telling things that do not mesh with what I know, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm not going to tell you I agree with you. It just doesn't work that way. But fear-mongering is when you turn around and go, this is the only way you can see it. You have to see it my way. And by the way, these wonderfully, highly enlightened individuals are here to destroy man. But, these extremely advanced individuals that have figured out how to fly, how to take a ship across light years of space, they can't figure out how to exterminate a human. Okay, can you see a problem with the logic here? Okay, now I've heard people go, we're in a matrix. I was talking to the queen of this race. I'm like, the race you're talking about doesn't even interact with each other. Okay, how can you have met the queen of a race that is by its very nature solo? Okay, how could you possibly meet the queen? Okay, specifically, we are talking Kaboran. Okay, now, every Kaboran is a planet, but not every planet is a Kaboran. Now, this guy claimed to have met the queen of the Kaborans. They don't have one. They barely have communication with each other. But if you're sitting there telling people, I know what's going on. Okay, I'm in touch with all these people. Joe, you're a little slow on that one. They started taking off about 6 months ago, from my recollection. But you are right. They are getting stronger. Now the trick is to have fun with it. Here's the neat thing. Where it comes to fear-mongering, why tell people the aliens are going to wipe us out, or better yet, and do not know, you gotta understand, I believe, well, you don't have to understand, I believe wholeheartedly in God and in Christ. You can call him any name you'd like. God knows I've been called enough different names. This said, if you're following somebody, and there's a lot of people out there going, oh, I'm Christ returned. I've seen this posted. Come out to the middle of this, into the middle of nowhere. I am your way to the light. I will lead you to a better world. I did it 2,000 years ago. I'm back to do it again. Come out to the middle of the bush, the middle of the desert. I've got a great big fenced compound, and we've got armed guards all over the place. Now, let me ask you, if that person is the one returned, why does he go out in the middle of nowhere and tell you to come out there where he's got fences? As I recall, the whole issue there was he walked in amongst the people that were having problems. The aliens, when they come down, you got to understand, they don't come down. They come down to abduct, certainly. They come down to research. Guys, humans are doing it themselves. But are they here and kidnapping all the people? Bad news, guys. Kidnapping's the massive majority are being taken by humans. Okay. Now we can look at the government. You can go, oh, they're raising taxes. They're calling and they're telling us we got shortages all over the place. All of this is fear mongering. Okay. For those of you that think we're running into a land shortage, okay, if you can afford it, go for a drive. Okay. Or better yet, take a flight over your country or the country of your choice. If it is not wall-to-wall people, you're not out of land. Okay. Now, you're told that we are having a power shortage. We're having hydropowers. We're having brownouts. So what do these people do? You're having brownouts, so we're going to have to raise the prices. So why, if you are having brownouts with electricity, why is there such... Oh, we'll get to that in just half a sec there, Joe. If there is a hydro problem, like a shortage of hydroelectricity, why push for electric cars that are going to strain the hydroelectric dams beyond the point of breaking? Is this a logical maneuver? And like I said, logic is the easiest way to derail emotion. Emotion is the easiest way to shatter logic. Now, Joe, one of the best ways that you can have fun with your higher senses is start utilizing them in your own head. I don't recommend telling people you're doing this, but in your own head, gauge what a person is going to do, say, react to next. Okay, and just compare your assessment to the reality when it pops. Okay, this is one of the reasons why people watchers have a tendency of really watching what's going on. Now, the important factor we have to look at is, why go through all this trouble of just propagating fear? Do you enjoy living in a state of fear? Do you enjoy looking over your shoulder, trying to figure out when somebody's going to screw things up? Is this what you're getting up in the morning for? Now, I came to the conclusion, all I can do, I can turn around and go, this is wrong and that's wrong and this is wrong. I'm just asking you to think. And I know for some of you that's pushing limits. Okay, I know this because I watched somebody years ago. Now, this goes to show you why I look at people going, do you guys think this individual, she was taking her actual practical driving exam. She was in a car with an instructor. She drove the wrong way down a 3-lane highway. And he gave her her license. Now, I don't know about you, but there's something wrong with that. And that's an excellent idea there, LA. Joe, LA, if you didn't notice it, LA is suggesting that you go in your journal and you make short predictions and then look back to see what happened. Okay. Higher senses are a phenomenal little toy. Okay, you can see all kinds of things. But it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to buy into the fear of it. Yes, people are doing stupid things. Okay, and I've done it myself. For the longest time, I was literally telling myself that it's time to go to war against this mess. And dawned on me this morning, talking about going to war against the ignorance that's going on is not going to work. I'm a healer. Okay. And war does not heal. War doesn't even bring peace. War brings quiet. Of course, in all fairness, if people are shooting at you, my guess is you're going to go to cover. Nina, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, again, guys, if you have a question, even if it's not in the topic we're discussing right now, absolutely post it in the chat room. Okay, I will do my best to spot it. But with that in mind, if it is a question, do me a favor and put it in all caps. Makes it easier to see. Whoa, how you doing? Are you sure that's not? I mean, as far as praying for you, certainly. And by the way, guys, prayer does work. But here's the kicker with prayer. Okay, when you pray for something, instead of, and I'm dead serious about this, instead of asking for it, instead of going, if you're praying to God or goddess or whatever it is, instead of going, please protect me from this, or please help me with this, instead of asking for it, pray in the way of going, thank you for helping me heal this. Okay, and in your case, Wu, that's exactly what we're going to do. Is we are going to pray, or more to the point, we are going to thank the powers that be for assisting in reminding your body how to deal with that. Okay. Now, I'm presuming they did a biopsy to figure out what it was. Something we have to realize. Okay, now we are taught that cancer is a new thing. We're taught that if you've got cancer, it's a death sentence. Okay, and here's the funny thing. It's not new. About 10 years ago, archaeologists found cancer cells in dinosaurs. Now, unless I miss my guess, dinosaurs didn't have access to cell phones. Okay, cancer is a natural, and I am no medical doctor. Okay, I took anatomy in school, if that counts. Okay, but cancer is a normal part of the corporeal genome. It's just when you're buying into all the fear, when you're buying into all the negativity, what you're doing is boosting that negative energy. You're fertilizing it. Net result, we have things that unfortunately has happened to Wu. Okay, the reality is the fact there's a growth there does not mean anything is going to go completely sour. I understand the anxiety around it, Wu. Don't get me wrong. Okay, of course, I got an advantage. I was diagnosed dead. That was fun. Mom and Dad took it to heart. They figured I was dead too until I walked out of the morgue. A diagnosis by a human is not a death sentence. Okay, something to keep in mind. And I know the doctors won't tell you this, and even most of your metaphysicians don't get it. Your body can correct anything your body has created. It's just that simple. Okay, all we do as accelerated healers is remind people's bodies how to heal. Okay, and here's the neat little thing. Well, Keith, if you know how to heal fast, why are your eyes collapsed? Why are your teeth shot? Well, because I've actually forgotten more about how to heal than many people ever learned. The other little kicker to it is, from my standpoint, I wonder if that's just a way of keeping me grounded. I'm not entirely certain as far as all that goes. What I do know is that the methods I use work. Okay. Some are a little bit more complicated. But when we're looking at fear mongering, the moment you're told you can't, if you do that, you're going to die. I will tell you, on society's current path, you guys, the generations coming up, i.e., I'm referring to, in my case, the 30-year-olds. You guys are in for one heck of a rough ride if you stay on the path that's been laid out. I'm telling you, my generation screwed up royally. You guys get to fix it. Because the odds are we ain't going to be here for another 70 years. That's your department. The real fact, the real thing to look at here is, are you enjoying reading up on all the negative things happening? Are you getting a giggle out of watching the number of people hurting each other? Or do you find it enjoyable watching, taking a look at accidents? Okay, now, why? When we take a look at the news, okay, think about it. Now, this is blatant across all venues, not just your standard mainstream, across all of social media. And that, guys, is your doing. Okay, I know somebody's sitting there, YouTube is adjusting all of it and controlling all the information. Or there's that IT company in Norway that everything goes through. They're controlling it all. Okay, let me ask you this. Let's assume for half a minute that the internet is controlled by a governmental organization or an independent one, and they control all the information. Who controls what comes out of your mouth? Okay, who is responsible for what you vocalize, for what you write, for what you read, what you pass on? And I mean in a verbal standpoint, not over the net. Okay, who is responsible for your actions? You see a piece of litter on the ground. Is that the government's fault? Or is that the candy bar manufacturer's fault that the wrapper ended up on the ground? Or was it yours? Did you drop the garbage on the ground? And are you going to blame somebody else? Now, this is all about fear and marketing. I'm going to say it's the government, okay, that did this, that, and the other thing. And you, in your almighty wisdom, are going to go and re-say and state that. I was told the government is responsible for all of the fiasco. Now, I will tell you, I don't use people's names very often. And I certainly don't watch politics. But years ago, don't ask me how many, years ago, Arnold Schwarzenegger got into office as a governor of California. Now, you get to check on the facts and what have you, what year, because it doesn't matter to me. The point being, he gets into office, he turns around, goes through the books, and comes back to the population and goes, guys, Schwarzenegger goes, guys, we've got a problem. The money's not there. Okay, I just got into office. The money's not there. I have one of two choices. Okay, either I turn around and raise taxes, or I'm going to have to cut social programs. Okay, and what ended up happening was across the country, the majority, across the state, the majority of people turned around and went, you can't cut our social programs. So Schwarzenegger rose the taxes. What did the population do? Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger, just like every other politician, he raised the taxes. Arnold Schwarzenegger, and do not get me wrong, I liked watching his movies. I could care less about the politics. But he asked the question, people said, this is what it is. Ever hear the term, be careful what you wish for? I'm just seeing here, Joe goes, the truth is, in my neighborhood, I might be the only one witnessing the paranormal activity that goes on. And LA goes, many people won't see the paranormal. It unsettles them. Absolutely. This is why I don't look in the mirror much. I don't like what I see when I look there. But the reality is, most people absolutely are scared to death of that which they don't understand. But the thing you got to remember is you've got a choice. You can either buy into the fear, okay, and you can live in a hole in the wall and hide. You can get really excited and rush out into the middle of the storm, okay, or you can sit quietly and watch it happen and see if you can figure it out. Now, in practical terms, okay, years ago, I was working in the downtown core in an office, and we're working inside, everything's fine. But what caught my attention was the garbage can went flying past the window, which wouldn't have been bad, except we were on the second floor. Okay, so we had 3 different reactions. A couple of the people went and hid under the desks, okay, away from the windows. Most people just looked and went, that's really rough out there. I looked out the window and I ran out into the middle of the storm. I don't know, maybe I'm suicidal. I figured they were having a problem and they needed help. Now, that's all I'm here to do, is just to turn the lights on. Are you turning around? Are you literally telling people that we're going to die, that, oh, God's going to come and save us all? He's going to pick up a specific few, take them up to live in heaven with him, and then he's going to wipe everybody else out. Okay, ask yourself this. The God you believe in, did he create everything? If he did, 2 things you got to ask. 1, did he give you free will and free choice? And did he by any chance create evil as well? Now, I'm not telling you what to believe. Okay, I can tell you what I believe. And that's all I can go with. Not whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. But thus far, I'm still breathing. So I figure part of it worked. The thing is, so many people get into this wonderful little rut. Okay, the so-called education system teaches you how to fear not doing exactly what you're told right from the get-go. Okay, when you get out of school, you're told go into the military, and they do exactly the same thing. Only now they give you guns. Now, don't get me wrong, I've got no problem with guns. I've looked at a few. I've never seen a gun get up and shoot somebody. Not of its own accord. But if you're told that everybody, if you're told everybody of a given color is the same way. Okay, let me ask you this. And I don't care what color you are. I really don't. If you're white, take a look at the white people around you. Ask yourself, do they all behave and believe things exactly the same as you do? Okay, if you're black, do all black people see the world the same way you do? Okay, if you're, I like the way Bill Cosby put it. Okay, he did a whole skit about coloring people. Okay, fear-mongering says, get that. I'm going to bypass that and go the other direction. Fear-mongering sometimes can be beneficial. Okay, and here's the example. When I was a kid, when I was young, when I was a teenager, I worked with a company called Counterattack. We were trying to help educate people on the impact of drinking and driving. But what we did, and this is back in the 70s, is we took photographs of somebody took photographs, I didn't myself, but the people working Counterattack took photographs of actual accidents and said, here's Johnny's car, this is what Johnny was driving, this is what it looks like, and by the way, all this blood that you're seeing here, that's Johnny. Okay, yes, we made people afraid to drink and drive. Mothers Against Drunk Driving comes up, they downplay it. Here's a glass. Now you can see clear as a bell. You've got 1 glass of wine. There's another, and a third, and by the 4th one, you can't see what's going on. You shouldn't drink and drive. Fear has a wonderful impact. It can kill you. Okay, if that's what you're aiming for, absolutely. If you desire to die because of stress-related illnesses because of hypertension. Okay. Now, apparently, they're like this article that Storm gave me basically says if you live in a constant state of fear, you have the potential of developing fibromyalgia. Now, I'm not a medical specialist, but I will tell you, I'm not impressed with the idea of fibromyalgia. Yeah, it says it turns around and says this can create autonomic system failure. Okay, meaning it can screw up your healing and your sleep patterns. Okay, the longer you're in that state, the more damage it can do. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you have to, if you carry on with your life as it is, I'm not going to say somebody's going to come down and straighten it out for you. Not going to happen. Okay, my brother, and he's passed away now. He was told by the doctors, if you don't stop eating the way you are, you're going to have a problem. Now, this wasn't fear-mongering. This was a straightforward statement of fact. Okay, he drank a 2 liter of Coke and ate a box of Catelli dinner every meal, breakfast, lunch, and supper. And you know what? He ended up with heart problems, breathing problems, because he didn't pay attention to his own health. Okay, now I will tell you, if you continue bombarding yourself with negativity, you're going to have problems. LA goes, opinion. When you're afraid, so is your body, and its base response is to go stiff. It follows, I'm presuming there's a little more coming in here. The thing is, I have taken to eliminating certain things off of my Facebook. I was literally talking to LA because I saw something that didn't add up. I was really tempted to respond to it, and as she pointed out, by even responding to it, you're giving them attention. So I didn't respond to it. Instead, I deleted them. I hid it from my page. Okay, and this is what you've got to change. What your option is. You can continue reading the negative stuff. You can continue taking on and regurgitating the same garbage, or you can start looking for that little piece of hope. And this is what I'm starting to do a lot more of. I'm as guilty as the next one for ignoring the problem. I'm a very good procrastinator. But when we're dealing with fear-mongering, ask yourself this. If you're regurgitating the idea, even if you heard from the most well-renowned UFO researcher that the aliens are going to invade, we're gearing up for a war. Have you even contemplated what that looks like? Okay. And besides that, we have the other neat little problem. Let's go back 300 years when the Europeans came to North America, and they were human to human. Okay. They touched down and wiped out a staggering number of the local natives with smallpox. Okay, now that's human to human. Okay, can you picture the problem with an off-worlder landing on Earth? Can you picture what kind of a mess we've got medically speaking? These are the things we're given the option of. You can have that. You can have it your way. You can continue clicking on that button that says, oh, this is embarrassing. Take a look at this. Okay. I saw a post on Facebook today of just a very old woman, presumably in her 80s or in her mid 80s, early 90s, on the couch, lying there with her husband sitting beside her. Okay, just sharing the last few minutes of their lives. Okay, and the caption was something to the effect of, "Isn't it sad that the picture of a girl in a bikini will get more likes than the picture of a humanitarian act?" Okay. Now, I'm not asking you to change your way. I'm asking you to simply reassess what you're actually perpetrating. Okay. I looked in the mirror and went, I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm not happy for me, not for you. Okay. You're welcome to do what you will, but I will tell you, on the current path, okay, on the current path, we don't have a shortage in food. We have a massive overabundance of greed. Okay. The question is, are you going to buy into it? Are you going to perpetrate this fear-mongering thing of, oh, we're running short of food? And I don't mean you in your pantry. I mean on a societal level. Okay. Where, our economy is in the bucket. Here's an idea. Talk to your local constituents. Start pushing to have your manufacturing plants brought home. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. People only get paid $1.50 wherever they are. The big corporations make money. You're running low, your economy's in the tank because the government agreed. Absolutely. However, let's face it, and I'm just going to go this way. Let's assume 10% of the active population is working for the government in one level or another. This means 90% of you are not. So you got one of two options. Either continue giving tacit permission by saying nothing and letting it continue, or get on the horn, get on your pen and paper, get on your computer and go, look, bring our manufacturing plants home. That keeps the money in your area. Okay, I know it's a weird idea. We can talk about the price being so high, but people talk about all the problems. Few are doing anything with them. I did agree with the, Rachel, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I did agree with this one post I saw on Facebook where it says 90% of people enjoy the freedom in the US and in Canada, of a free world where we're allowed to operate. We're allowed to think what we will. Only 10% fight for that right. Okay. Now, I'm doing so in my own way. Okay. This issue here, this free stream, this is my way of giving back. And this is why I say, if you've got a question, absolutely come right out and ask. Okay. If you've got an opinion that is not fear-mongering, okay, in other words, we're all going to die and the government's responsible for all of it, I got news for you. Governmental people, educators, first responders, police people, they are all human. I agree. Some of you are hybrids. Some of you simply look human. If it doesn't apply to you, don't take it on. Okay. It's a simple issue of, I can no longer permit myself to sit back and go, okay, the UFO community is locked in real solid, really united. Okay. The fact is, it is not. Okay. Now, I don't see eye to eye with everybody I know. Lord knows that's the way that is. But we have got to, I shouldn't say we have got to. If you desire the world to continue on the path it's on, If you desire to sit and watch the world tell it and tear itself apart, been there, done that, wasn't a real fun time in Rome. But hey, you haven't been there, maybe it's what you're looking for a bit of a rush. Okay, now, I'm not the one to tell you how you get your sheeps and giggles. Okay, I will tell you, if you're not enjoying the state of the world, quit participating in propagating the negativity of it. Quit passing on the information of, oh, here's an absolutely appalling story. Here, look at this. Okay, like for instance, I saw a post on Facebook that literally the headline, white cop shoots unarmed black man in public, during day. Now, I read that. That's a pretty negative shot. And the reality is it's designed for one purpose when you think about it. Why repost something like that? And it was reposted, I don't recall how many times. But why repost that something? That issue. Okay. You can repost it, but what is the outcome of posting something with that blatant of a headline? Now, that same run, I looked at two other issues. Okay. It showed a group of bikers. There was a little old lady. Okay, and I do mean she was little. She was barely shoulders above the walker, trying to get across a busy 6-lane road on a crosswalk, and a whole pile of bikers. Okay, absolutely, Rachel. Rachel goes, it's to create more division. But here's the thing. I'll come back to that. This little old lady is trying to get across this crosswalk. A whole array of bikers. Okay, in full regalia. I couldn't make out the name, so I don't know which group. Okay, they literally blocked traffic. They got off their bikes, and a couple of them helped the young lady get across the street safely, all the way to the other side. And while two of them helped her, another one grabbed her walker and brought it for her, gave her a hug, and carried on their way. Okay, then I saw this other one with the police that stopped again. This police officer, he's driving along. He stopped his car to get a wounded dog off the street. Now, this is what I mean. If you're looking at something negative, look at a minimum of two things positive. This will help you turn your thinking around. Okay. Now, going back to this division issue Rachel brought up, let me ask you this. When you look at that, it was reposted on Facebook by people. Is that the media moguls doing? I cannot deal with that right now. And since I cannot, I will have to, and that's not one of the three that I do deal with. But what, in your opinion, was that propagated? I saw it on Facebook. Does this mean Facebook is the one that reposted under multiple different names? Or was that the work of individuals? Okay, this is what I mean by fear-mongering is not just the nature of the government or of the moguls. This is the nature of people. This is what you've been programmed to do since day one. Make other people feel worse so you can feel better. Okay, now I pulled away from a lot of society for a lot of reasons. Clearly, this was a bad idea because I started pulling away when I was 5. Okay, and when I pulled away from people, I shut everybody out. Okay, now I'm looking at it going, I've got to come out and I've got to start turning the lights on. And all I'm asking you guys to do is the same thing that you were asked, that people at the time were asked 2,000 years ago. Spread one simple message and start living by it. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And for pity's sakes, start paying attention to each other. Start communicating. Not this idea of sending half-baked ideas or incomplete thoughts. How you doing? Oh, Storm just popped in here. I was about to say, how you doing, Storm? You know, Ellie goes, when I'm confronted with fear talk, I picture a room full of mice with a cat dropped in the middle of it. I start smiling. Yeah, you know, I mean, I get a kick out of it. Like, I've seen some things. I've seen some photos that have been phenomenal. You know, like I remember a guy came up to me one day, and I'm not a good example, right? But years ago, before my stroke, where nothing reacted. Oh, there you go. See, you know, but this guy, he pulls a gun on me, he pulled a knife on me, he goes, give me your wallet. I looked at the wallet, the knife, and I went, why? He goes, well, I've got a knife. I said, yeah, I can see that. What's it got to do with my wallet? Now, I am not a good example, but whenever you're faced with something that is frightening, surround yourself with things that make you feel better. Okay. Now, the doctors will tell you no cure for depression. You're going to be on pills for the rest of your life. Cute thought. Okay. By all means, if you're on medication, for pity's sake, stay on it. Okay, but start adjusting your thinking. The medication will become irrelevant. Okay, but you don't pull yourself off medication. Okay, now this is where I'm telling you to do what I'm suggesting, not what I do. Joe goes, the social media apps that I don't care for whatsoever are TikTok, X, and Instagram. Exactly, but and that's absolutely fine, Joe. The only reason I'm on any of it is because that's where many people seem to find things. It also happens to be the easiest way to get seen. But I'm only on Facebook, LinkedIn, and I am on X. Okay, I still call it Twitter. I've been told I should get on the Instagram, but because I'm canceling all of my advertising, then what I have to do is look at different options. So the only other option I've got is for you guys to go out and let people know that we're here. Because I'll tell you, the thousands I spent on so-called professionals that said, oh, we can do this for you. Great line, beautiful sales pitch, absolutely useless. Okay, but when we're talking about fear-mongering, okay, when you look at whatever it is you're looking at, does it leave you with a sense of happiness, a sense of hope, a sense of encouragement, or does the article you just read, the conversation you just had, the movie you just watched, okay, or the news report you just watched, does it leave you feeling dejected, in fear of the future, hopeless in your current setup? I appreciate that, Robert. How you doing? The neat thing is with what you've been through, seeing you with a smile on your face is a phenomenal boost. Okay, it's people like Robert that should be on the front page of the news. Okay, going, look, here's what he went through. Look at his smiling face. He's up and on the go. He didn't give up. And Lord knows there's a lot of people that go through things like that and give up entirely. Now, I will admit, I myself have come very close to giving up on the world. Okay. I've looked at some people and gone, why do I bother? Well, why I bother is because of those little itty bitty instances. Okay. Like what Robert's doing here, what Joe Stewart has done, and what Alan Lakatos has done. This is how I know that what I'm doing is having an impact. Okay. And it's that encouragement, just those little bits and pieces. Oh, there we go. Robert goes, growth of the ankle skin is progressing a lot faster now. Oh, that is fantastic. Any way I want to look at it. Now, I'm presuming it's healed properly. Well, as close to properly as it can at this point. Talk about having to turn your life upside down. I'll call it voluntarily, but the situation was certainly not one that you asked to get into, I'm sure of it. I came to the conclusion that I can stay hiding, I can stay away from the world, and I can keep going. The world's a wreck, and I'm just pathetic. I'm just pathetically upset with it. Robert goes, if you don't laugh, you cry, and I am not buying Kleenex. There are things that happen that you really have to learn to take in stride. I do that when I have a heart attack. It's like, I was driving my son a couple of years back. I went to drive my son to work, and he looks at me and he goes, Dad, you're not looking good. I said, no, I'm in the middle of a heart attack. He goes, well, shouldn't we go to the hospital? I went, no, I'll drop you off from work. I'll go home and sleep it off. Right. My kid, he just settled back. He's like, okay. I went home, slept it off. This is not a wise move. Okay, this is downright suicidal in a lot of ways. But Robert is right. Robert's also white, by the way. Robert is right. Okay. If you're hit with adversity, you've either got to laugh it off or shrug it off or do whatever you will in a positive fashion, buy into it and curl up in a corner, or just ignore it. Now, here's the thing. I am a very firm believer that 4% of the 1% of the population make things happen. Roughly 4% of the population watch things happen. Okay. And about 95% of the population sit and wonder what happened. Now you get to figure out which part of that you're in. I'm in the process of doing my best to be one of the 1% to make things happen. Now, I've been through this road before. Okay. And I will tell you, this time we are including the off-worlders, the ancient races, and every one of the races of humanity. Every one of them. There's not a one of you that is better than the next. And rest assured, in my opinion, who you crawl into bed with, I could care less. What you crawl into bed with doesn't matter to me. Okay? And shouldn't matter to anybody else. But you guys have to decide, are you going to continue being afraid of what's going on out there? Or are you going to start communicating with each other and questioning what's going on? Okay, that's the crossroads you're at. Not whether to believe me or to believe the next guy. But it's time to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what are you buying into? Okay, now I cannot make that decision for you. Not by any functional stretch. Now, I will tell you this. Okay, I mentioned in the beginning that we were going to be looking at, thank you very much there, LA. I told you right at the beginning we were going to look at fear-mongering and misinformation. Now, here's the thing. Let's start with the issue, and we're going to go back into outer space. The government is building all this weaponry and what have you to protect us from an invasion. Okay, Now, think about that. These guys come from millions of miles away. They've got technology to get here. Some of them don't even need the technology. Okay. I had a conversation with them one day. You get to figure out if I'm full of it, if I'm making it up. Maybe this is just a case of my imagination being in absolute hyper overdrive. Okay. They move into Earth, into the neighborhood. They will pull into position beyond the orbit of Mars. They will hit Earth. If they're going to do that, they're going to hit Earth with a subquantum EMP pulse that not only wipes out every electronic you've got operational, but it wipes out every component that is already configured. Okay, meaning before you even know they're in the solar system, your entire network has gone black. Then they will move into orbit at about the moon's distance. And they'll start dropping your own trash on your head. Okay. The satellites that are up there, the things are just simply orbiting. Okay. They'll start dropping that on your head. No nuclear fallout. Okay. This is before they even attempt landfall. Now, assuming this is the case, can you see any possibility of mankind even putting up even a pocket resistance before mankind is bombed back to the Stone Age? Okay, this is what you're being asked to believe. Okay, that's first and foremost. Now, does that make any sense at all? Because this is the fear that many of the so-called UFO specialists, alien race experts, are trying to feed you. Now, are you going to continue buying into this and continue spreading that kind of garbage? Yes, I call it garbage. Absolutely, I do. I was going to call it something else, but I caught myself in time, which is rare. Okay, I have listened to so many of these so-called specialists propagate the idea that, we are getting set for an invasion, that aliens control everything we're doing. I don't know about you, but I have a choice like you do. Either I am totally not responsible for anything I'm doing. Okay, because I'm uttering all this because some genius out there is going, well, let's stick our finger in Keith's back and we'll make his mouth move. And then we'll use ventriloquism. And we're going to do that to every one of you. Okay, to make sure you're all doing exactly what we want. Which, by the way, if you're going to buy into that, you don't have free will. You don't have free choice. Okay, so are you living your life or are you living your life for some other creature? Okay, and again, determine whether I'm full of it or it's just a story, or am I being honest? Okay, that same question, pose it to the other people. Okay, get them to explain how they came to that conclusion. Okay, ask questions. Absolutely critical you start asking questions. Because if you don't, you're going to deliberately, by choice, with malice of forethought, close your eyes and walk into traffic. Or close your eyes and run off a cliff. Your call. Okay. The misinformation that we have out there that is being propagated is mind-boggling. Okay. Go back. You want to see why reptilians are pinned down? Go back to 1977 through 82. There was a series and a movie out called V. That is, in my opinion, that, in my opinion, is where the whole reptilian conspiracy came from. I am absolutely intending on doing that, Joe. I'm staying on YouTube here. I haven't opened the other ones up. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter because they're already set up. Okay. And of course, obviously, I'm on Facebook. But, this is what you're being asked to believe. Okay, is reptilians are all the same. Well, the reality is, I can think of off the top of my head 7 or 8 different races. And when Races of the Worlds comes out, when the 2nd edition comes out, like I said, we're into final edit. Okay, you're going to find in the back of the book, I've got a list of all the races I've documented. Okay, well, all the ones I've documented so far. Okay, in the back, and all it is here's the race, the general category. This one's reptilian, that one's reptilian, this sort of thing. I wonder if I've got that. Okay, let's just scroll all the way to the bottom. Oh, I haven't sorted them all out. Haven't got them listed. Got to go back and do that. Okay, well, I'll deal with that afterwards. But no, I will have to do that for Friday. Actually, I won't do it for Friday. What I'll do is I will post on Facebook. Okay, I will post the number of different reptilian races that I know of. Okay, they are not all alike. Now, you've got a very simple little issue. Okay, you can buy into this idea that aliens are going to come from light years away just to pick on your brand, just to dump on your parade, to tell you how you're going to live, to run your government. Okay, you remember that funny thing about getting elected? If you're not happy with what's going on, get involved. Okay, now I will tell you, I did my time as a politician. I went to work as a member of a board. Turned out I'm not good at lying. And unfortunately, that is literally what it boiled down to. Okay, this is why I say if you've got a question, ask. I'll give you an honest answer. You may not like the answer. Okay, but I will tell you, if you're of the opinion that the way this world is going is wrong, it's up to you in your part of the world to start changing it. Okay, this is something you've got control over. No God by any name is going to come down and clean your house. Sorry, guys, not going to happen. There is not an alien in existence that is going to come down unless you hire them and pay them. But why pay an alien to clean your own house? Why not get off your tail feathers? If you're capable. Okay, this is the thing. We're told Joe's going, well, I do have emotional overload. Yeah, you absolutely do. The unfortunate part there, Joe, is one of the things that goes hand in hand with higher senses is sensory overload. So this is literally for you and anybody else that suffers with it. Okay, when you're feeling emotionally overloaded, take your hand. Doesn't matter if it's your right or your left. Either one of them. Put them palm down on something that normally sits on the ground. Okay, be it a couch, a heavy chair, a dining room table, the wall itself, doesn't matter. Put your hand on it and visualize the excess energy coming out of your hand, much like water out of a faucet. Okay, you'll find a couple of things happen. One is your stress drops. 2, you may find you feel a little heavier. Okay, but that's because you're bleeding off the excess energy. Okay, the other thing that also works to help with that, find the fastest paced dance music you can find. Now, if your energy is running high, you might want to find something that's a little lower, that's a little slower. Okay, but modern medicine has taught you that many of the emotional issues that you're going through are incurable without a pill. Okay, I'm telling you, and I am no medical doctor. Understand this. Okay, I'm just telling you what I found. Okay, you've been told this is what has to happen. And the one I'll tell you, the one thing I will back up, if you're on medication to help with your moods, to help with your sugar levels, to help with any of a myriad of problems, absolutely stay on it. Okay, but start correcting the problem. Do not buy into the fact, do not buy into the proposed fact that you can heal. Okay, I'm absolute living proof that much of what people go through can be beaten. Okay, my biggest claim to fame is walking out of the morgue. Okay, it can be done. I do not recommend it. It's a bit unnerving, especially for the people in the morgue. But it's up to you whether you're going to do something, whether you're going to change your life. You're the one, if you want your house to run more smoothly, okay, you're going to have to take a look at it and get off your own tail feathers. Quit praying that somebody else is going to deal with it. LA adds, I find water is helpful to relax and release emotional stress. Letting your hand under a faucet of running cold water or a garden hose, etc., is really helpful. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely it is. I mean, you think about it. When I was growing up, and I know LA went through this, those water hoses were phenomenal. We drank out of them all the time. And none of us died from some sort of illness because of the water hose being a little dirty. Okay, it didn't kill us. But I will tell you, water does work. This is why so many people go and take a bath to relax. Never, ever, ever, ever take a bath to relax if you're feeling ill. Okay, just never do it. Because the reality is, I've seen people that try and do that. I actually had a friend of mine whose fiance was feeling under the weather. He went to work. She had a bath. He came home. She was still in the bathtub. Unfortunately, her head was underwater. Okay. And this is not to scare you out of the bathtub. This is simply to say, think before you do things. Okay. Now, I've heard a lot of things that can be classified as fear-mongering, many of which I won't say here. Okay. But I will tell you, it is time to pull your head out of the sand and start thinking. Now, I was going to be, like I'm just noticing here, we're coming down on 15. So, I've got a list, okay, of topics we're going to be covering over the next number of weeks. Okay. And, the reality is, we're going to deal with this. I've got them listed out for several weeks. I think the middle of September right now. But if something comes up, I'll shunt them down line. Okay, but I've got the next 9 weeks-ish, okay, already laid out. To that end, we're going to get involved, and I'm going to be posting this, by the way. Okay, if we bring one in, it'll simply shut things down. This coming week, okay, because we're running on 3 different lines now. Okay, we got one series of talks that are going to revolve around spirituality. Okay, and I am not talking about one religion. I'm talking the entire gamut. Then we are going to be going, that's this coming week. Okay, then we're going to be looking at multiracial races, multiracial species. Okay, and that being said, it's going to be, and we're going to have to jump things around a little. But the first day, and this is literally for you, Joe. Okay, we are going to, not this week, but a week down the road, we're going to be looking at multiracial species, as in orbs, the reptilians, the orbs, the grays, humans, Arborians, and we're going to cover some of their ships. Now, this is all, it's still up in the air a little. Then we're going to spend a week on self-help. So we're going to be going spirituality, UFOs, and self-help. But they're going to be overlapping. The reason being, there's a lot of stuff to be covered. A lot of changes that have to take place. Okay. And the reality is, I'm doing my best to get as much written as I can. By the way, apologies because Positive Perspectives did not come out for the first time in a year. They did not come out on time. Okay, working on it, get it out. I'm hoping to have it out by the end of the week. And then we'll get back on track. But I will tell you, overload, heart problems, that sort of thing, I run into snags. And due to the fact I'm the only one doing a lot of the writing, okay, I do have an editor, a transcriptionist, and editor helping with a lot of it. And of course, the reality of it is that LA and Storm are doing a phenomenal job in handling the live stream. But I will be keeping people a little more socially active on the social side to let people know what we're up against. And again, if you've got a question, if you've got a topic, absolutely drop me a line like Joe did regarding can we do something on the orbs. Okay. Like I said, if you've got a topic, let me know. Okay. I can't begin to tell you what I've got trapped up in here because half the time it comes out while I'm speaking. And then I sit there going, I didn't know I knew that. Oh, well. And of course, in answer to that neat little question, where do I get all the information? Sorry, I've lived a long time. Okay. And I'm not pulling this information just from one lifetime. And you're more than welcome there, Ellie. You know, there's a number of little booklets I'm in the middle of writing as well. I have no shortage of material. I just have a shortage of organizational capacity, it would seem. Okay. And that being said, I do appreciate you really bearing with me on that. You know, the fact of the matter is that when I said I was going to be looking at, when I said I'm going to be looking at multiracial species, and I'm going to be dealing with humans, yes, I'm going to cover that funny little thing of, oh my gosh, you're a different color. I know that's a terrible thing because some of you have this brilliant idea your skin color makes you better than the next person. I'm telling you, the number of fingers you have doesn't make you better. It's what you do with this. This is what's going to matter. Okay, because I will tell you, you ever have a hurricane or a forest fire in your area, I will guarantee, and there ain't much I'll guarantee, floodwaters, fires, windstorms, they don't check who you're voting for. They don't ask you who you're sleeping with. And they sure as heck don't ask what your pocketbook looks like. Okay? Off-worlders are not concerned with whether or not, you believe in them. Okay? And you don't have to believe what I'm telling you. That's the beauty of it. I can sit here and I can question my own sanity, and rest assured I do. Okay? I question my own sanity constantly. So if you're questioning my sanity, have a happy. Okay, call me completely nuts. And I'm going to ask you to do me one other little detail. Okay, while you're thinking I'm completely nuts, chalk this up to the complete fantastical story of an imagination gone mad. This, on top of being the storyline that it is, covers a lot of the races, a lot of the concepts, including creation and evolution, as well as many of the spiritual teachings and different interracial activities. Okay, you can call it an imagination, you can call it a story. It is. Okay. The only place you can get the books that I've got are literally through the link at the top of the page, through the Buy Me a Coffee. You can also at that point track me down. You can track me down for consulting, business or personal. Doesn't matter. I've been doing it for 37 years. I'm not closing the door. I did seriously consider it. Okay. And I appreciate that, LA. I'm literally in the middle. I got things going sideways all over the place. I got to get organized on prioritization. That's obvious. The neat part about it is if you're not content with your life, okay, you've got two ways you can look at it. I'm not happy with my life, so I need to change. No problem. Where do you start? Right where you are. How do you go about orchestrating it? If you haven't gotten it, if you haven't picked it up through the stream I'm doing here, absolutely drop me a line. I will be more than happy to help you. And the good news is this: much as I've been paid literally in excess of $2,600 an hour for what I'm doing for free. Okay. In the consulting side of things, I only charge $20 for 15 minutes. Okay. I do not charge this $180, $200, $1,000 an hour. I don't, I was going to say I don't require it. I'd love to have it. And I've never turned down money from anybody. I even got offered $1,000 to pass on a message. Of course, the problem was the guy wanted me to lie. And I says, I'll take the $1,000. He goes, well, what about the message? I'm not lying to anybody for anybody. He goes, well, why would I give you the $1,000 then? I said, you're nice. As it turned out, I didn't get the $1,000. But you got to look at the world from the standpoint of, are you content to let other people, whether it's God, the aliens, the elites, the government, your parents, are you going to let somebody else tell you whether or not you're going to enjoy life without hurting anybody else? Okay. 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Follow those 3 laws, and you will find things take a turn for the better. Okay. But it is up to you to make the decision. I'm not the one that can change your world for you. One person can't do it alone. One pebble does not make an avalanche, but that one pebble can trigger an avalanche. I intend wholeheartedly, much as I've been reclusive the majority of my life, I intend wholeheartedly to start a pandemic. Okay? And I don't mean an illness. I mean, for pity's sakes, go out and say nice things to people. Make that the pandemic. All you got to do is go, good morning. Whether it's a good morning or not. Okay? Realistically, it could be worse. We talked about the weather being bad. Well, think about a day without weather. By the way, no weather, no atmosphere. Day's about 8 minutes long. Then the light goes out and we're all burned to a crisp. Okay, I'm thinking this is not a good day. But now is the time to really turn the clock around and go, okay, we've let life go this way. Robert goes, once the avalanche has started, it's too late for the pebbles to vote. Absolutely. Absolutely right, Robert. So let's get started on the avalanche. Let's get started on the pandemic in a positive fashion. Thank you very much, LA. Now, we have just been informed we're at the 5-minute mark. Probably a good thing that we've got. I know, definitely a good thing. Anyway, people, thank you so very much for sharing your time with us today. Really appreciate it. It's a wonder people actually sit and listen to me babble. But I will be back again on Friday. Before that, I've got other things that will come up on Facebook that I will be posting. Okay. But until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.